There's quite a few near certainties in Major League Baseball, but I think it's safe to say that MLB will not see a player reach 3,000 career hits and 500 homers in the next couple decades. The last to do it, Miguel Cabrera. Today, no one's even close. Could Freddie Freeman or Jose Altuve reach 3,000 hits? Maybe. Will Giancarlo Stanton, Shohei Ohtani, or Mike Trout hit 500 homers? At the pace that each is at, most likely one of them will. But to cross each of these thresholds, it feels increasingly impossible as the game continues to evolve. But wait, there's more. If you act now, we'll throw in this factoid. Miggy ended his illustrious 21-year career with a .306 batting average. That would have placed him 5th overall during the 2025 season, in a contest that was won by Aaron Judge at .331. Wait a second, what about Aaron Judge? He certainly got the pop, and the numbers prove it. Today, he's just 132 homers short of 500. If he stays healthy, he'll get there in the next 3 years. But he only has about 1,200 hits, meaning he has, honestly, no shot at 3,000. And while his career average of 294 might rise to around 300, he'd have to defy the norm of aging power hitter decline to get there. Let's put it in this context. There have been just 3 players out of 23,600 who retired with 3,000 hits, 500 homers, and a career 300 average. Henry Aaron, Willie Mays, and Miguel Cabrera. The odds of any MLB player reaching this milestone as such is 0.013%, or about 1 in 8,000. And those totals are perhaps appropriate to describe Cabrera, because in many ways he seemed like a hitter from a different time. It wasn't just that he put up huge triple slash and counting numbers. He did so when the average MLB hitter's performance in these regards was dropping year over year. This was a player who got MVP votes for 14 straight seasons. That's prolonged greatness. For a point of comparison, Mike Trout's longest streak is 9. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. In order to fully appreciate why there will never be another Miggy, we have to go back to the beginning. A young Miguel was nothing short of a phenom, already playing professionally at the age of 14, and by 16 starting at third for the Tigres de Aragua, a powerhouse of the Venezuelan Winter League. The Marlins signed him the second he turned 16, literally at midnight on his birthday, for $1.8 million. Scouts were positive he had all-star upside, the kind of pure hitter who could hit 300 with 25 homers a season. Cabrera expected even more. "I want to be the best," he told scouts when he was 15. "What I'm doing right now is nothing compared to what I'm going to do. You watch. I'll play in the big leagues, and I'll be a good one." It didn't take long for the rest of baseball to realize the kind of hitter Miggy was. By his 20th birthday, he was in the Southern League, dominating with a .365 average and an OPS north of 1,000. The Marlins were struggling, mired in 4th place at the time. Cabrera hadn't played a game above AAA. This didn't deter them. He got called up in a youth movement that also saw the arrival of Dontrelle Willis. Mike Lowell was entrenched at third, so where would the phenom play? The outfield, where he'd spent just 3 minor league games prior to his promotion in June. No matter, his bat had to be in the lineup, and in his debut, he showed the world why, hitting a walk-off homer against the Rays for his first big league hit. Hold on for 1 second, I want to ask you a question. Would you like a chance to win 2 free tickets to your MLB team's opening day next year? That's right. Today's sponsor, Rico, is giving away 2 tickets worth up to $250 to your MLB team's first game in 2025. Now, what is Rico? Well, have you ever found yourself watching a YouTube video and thought, where can I get that tech, or fashion, or gadget? That's where Rico comes in. It's a new app that makes videos instantly shoppable. You can tap products directly inside videos and see where to get them. No more searching, no more looking, just instantaneous access. As for the giveaway, all you need to do is download the app via my link in either the pinned comment or description. The winner will then be announced on the 1st of December. Thanks again to Rico for sponsoring this video, and good luck to everybody that downloads. That win served as an avatar of a turnaround that propelled the Marlins to a 91-71 finish, good enough for the NL wildcard spot. Then they took care of the Giants and Cubs, both in dramatic fashion, only to top it all off by winning the World Series by beating the storied Yankees in 6 games. Cabrera left his mark by shrugging off a Roger Clemens brushback pitch, then belting an opposite field homer, creating another of his early iconic highlights. From here, he would simply become one of the best players in the game, making 4 straight All-Star teams. Between 2004 and 2007, he averaged 32 homers, 115 RBIs, and a .319 batting average per season. Remember, he hadn't yet turned 25 years old. By all rights, the Marlins should have locked him up with an extension, but things were not so different then from now. The team lamented its revenue stream, the lack of a new stadium, and on and on. The bottom line was that Cabrera was due to make more than $10 million in arbitration, and so the Marlins decided to move him and their other star rookie from that 03 team, Willis, to the Tigers, for a huge package of prospects, the centerpieces of which were Cameron Maybin and Andrew Miller. players who would go on to post a combined WAR for them of negative 0.6. The Tigers, meanwhile, were getting a player who, in many ways, was a throwback to a time when hitters had little technology to help them, at least in terms of personal training. Ever since Iron Mike had debuted in the 1950s, hitters have been taking long hours hitting off of pitching machines. Other advances followed, leading to the machines of today, which can crank out all manner of velo and spin. Cabrera, though, didn't like hitting off a machine. "If I don't recognize the ball in hand, I'm in trouble," he explained. His time in the cage was spent mostly swinging with just his left hand. There was never a fixed number he'd take. When he felt in the zone, he stopped completely. Film study, advanced metrics, not really for Miggy. He didn't want alternate perspectives clouding his view of that grip, that release point, which was the key to his success. And he didn't need film anyway, because Cabrera could remember every one of his ABs on a pitch-by-pitch basis, a talent that awed his teammates. Once, though, he admitted to peeking at film, quote, when nobody was looking. Some suggested that Cabrera would have been even better if he'd trained a little harder, and when he got older, he'd see clips of his younger days and moan, "What happened, Miguel?" laughing, of course, the entire time. But as the old saying goes, you can't steal first base. And with the Tigers, Miggy was never tempted to, reaching a level of performance he had previously never achieved. In his first season, he led the AL in homers with 37. For the next 6 seasons in a row, he hit over 300, drove in more than 100 runs, and clubbed over 30 homers. Yet with Cabrera, often the anecdote intrigued more than even his insane raw data. Rumor was that Cabrera used to goad pitchers into throwing certain pitches by swinging and missing badly, on purpose, lulling pitchers into a false sense of security. "It's easier for him to have fun playing than it is for most other guys," his manager Jim Leland explained. "It just comes easier to him." And yet Miggy toyed with the best pitchers on the planet like they were his buddies in a high school scrimmage. Even still, there was another level left for Cabrera. For Miggy went from being great to being something otherworldly. Between 2010 and 2016, he won 4 batting titles. He struck out more than 100 times in a season twice, while hitting at least 35 homers. 4 times. He won back-to-back MVP awards in 2012 and 2013. And in that 2012 season, for the first time since 1967, he won the Triple Crown, which he'd flirted with in 2010 and again in 2013. Yeah, after a hiatus of 45 years in which no one had hoisted the crown, Miggy nearly bagged 3 in a span of 4 seasons. No one's managed to do it since. The numbers were ridiculous. 330 with 44 homers and 139 RBI in 2012. And then, somehow, he got better in 2013. 348 with 44 and 137, along with an OPS plus of 190, best in all of baseball, despite battling various injuries throughout the season. That OPS plus, by the way, was higher than Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., or Rickey Henderson ever posted in an individual season. "You can't pitch to him," teammate Torrey Hunter said. "He can hit the inside pitch. He can hit the outside pitch. He can hit the up and in. He can go down the line to right or down the line to left. He can go all over the field. And he's smart. He's a smart hitter. He's going to battle at the plate." The only blemish during this dominant stretch was the 2012 World Series, which would have capped off a dream season for Cabby and the Tigers. Instead, he hit .231 and had to watch as his team got swept by an outstanding Giant squad, with his own K being the final out of the entire series. In 2014, despite still having 2 years left on a deal he'd signed in 2008, Cabrera signed an extension with the Tigers that would pay him basically $30 million per year until he turned 40. At the time, he was 31 years old and as dominant as ever. But the Tigers still got some flack for the deal, mostly because of his large frame that didn't inspire hope he'd age well. Sadly, those who were skeptical ended up being proven correct. For the first 3 years of his deal, Cabrera produced his usual numbers, putting up a WAR of 15.1 over those seasons. In 2014, he led the AL in doubles. In 2015, he won another batting title. 2016, however, was Miggy's last truly monster year. 38 bombs, 108 RBIs, and a .316 batting average. Then he hit 35 years old, and everything changed. If each unit of WAR is worth roughly around $8 million, then between 2014 and 2016, Miggy got paid $90 million for $120 million worth of high-quality baseball. He was legitimately, somehow, a steal. But after that last great year, his best single-season WAR would be just 0.3. The Tigers, at least on paper, were then paying him big bucks for his past contributions. Not for recent ones. But perhaps that undersells just what he had accomplished in the Old English D. Between 2009 and 2015, he came to the plate 4,000 times and came away with an average of .332, when the rest of the league was sinking to the lowest league average since 1968, a year in which the mound was raised. He averaged over 35 homers per 162 games, an OPS plus over 150. Even those twilight years were rough, and they certainly were. It was refreshing to see a player stick around with the club that he had achieved legendary status with. First to fall was the 500 homer threshold, which Miggy eclipsed in August 2021 in a game against the Jays in Toronto. The team had tried to situate it so that Miggy would pass the milestone at home, but he went 31 straight at-bats without homering. "There was a lot of things going on in my mind because I wanted to do it in Detroit," Cabrera said, "but it's tough to hit home runs. It certainly is tough to hit homers and to get to 3,000 hits. Again, as I said in the intro, nearly impossible, and even more so to do both. But Cabrera joined that club the next year, meaning now Mickey was in an even more exclusive group, being those who had done both, which includes Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Eddie Murray, Rafael Palmeiro, Albert Pujols, and Alex Rodriguez. Even with his sagging production near the end, Cabrera still somehow finished with the best batting average and on-base percentage of that bunch. His twilight years would conclude with him having posted a batting average under 260, a slug south of 420, and an OPS under 750 for each of his final 4 seasons. Pretty much wall-to-wall they weren't pretty, but they still happened to bookend one of the greatest careers overall we've ever seen, while allowing the hulking Venezuelan legend to reach many a milestone. Only a few of which I'm going to detail here because of the insane total amount. Few players have ever reached the heights Mickey did in his prime, and fewer still managed to maintain that level of production for as long as he did, leading to some of the greatest numbers this game has ever seen, along with some of its most exuberant happiness displayed on a nightly basis. Those base hit and homer totals, that over 300 career average, multiple MVPs, and even more than I could ever hope to properly capture, is why I firmly believe we will never see another Miguel Cabrera. Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in a video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching, have a great rest of your day.